I'm Elder Wright, Elder David Wright. This is Elder Anchondo, this is Elder Beza, and this is Elder Usher, and I'm going to be doing just applying for the MTC practice teaching. So, today we're going to be talking a little bit about teaching for understanding. So, if you could open up your Preach My Gospels to page 182. The reason I wanted to talk about this was because a lot of times I think when we teach, we want to just kind of throw information at people, and as missionaries we don't really, sometimes it's kind of hard to dumb it down and apply it to specific people. And so I was kind of thinking, the word understanding, what comes to your mind when you think understanding? Elder Bezin, what do you think?
Learning something to the point where you could possibly teach it to someone else.
I like that a lot. Others, what do you think?
I think Bezin has it on the dot. Learning something in order to teach it.
For sure, yeah. And then, Elder Sherry, anything else? What do you think?
When you get the main idea of something, you're gonna apply it.
And you can. That is beautiful. Okay, so we're gonna start with the first sentence in Teach Understanding. Who could read that?
People are better able to believe the message of the restoration of the gospel when they understand the message. President James.
Okay. So Elder Boucher, I actually added in, like, after believe, I just kind of put in parentheses and apply. So it's easy for them to believe the message and apply the message only if they understand the message. So I was looking for examples of understanding the message, and I found a really good one in Acts. So if you could open up to Acts chapter 8. This is Philip. We don't really hear a lot about Philip in the New Testament. We do a little bit, but not a whole lot. But he was, in chapter 8, he's just awesome. And so he's just doing his thing. He's out there pretty much on a mission, just kind of teaching people. And so we're going to start in verse 26. Acts chapter 8, verse 26. And so it looks like you brought your Spanish scriptures. We're all Spanish missionaries, so they brought their Spanish scriptures. It's okay. And so, Elder Bezin, could you start in verse 26 right here? So he's just kind of doing his thing, and then this happens.
Just verse 26?
Mm-hmm.
And the angel of the Lord spake unto Philip, saying, Arise, and go toward the south, unto the way that goeth down from Jerusalem unto Gaza, which is desert.
Okay, so the angel of the Lord appears to him, and he doesn't really tell him exactly what he's going to do, which I find interesting. He just says, just go. Like, do you want to read verse 27 too?
Yeah. And he arose and went, and behold, a man of Ethiopia, an eunuch of great authority under Candace, queen of the Ethiopians, who had the charge of all her treasure, and had come to Jerusalem to worship.
Okay, and then Elder Anchondo, could you read verse 28?
Was returning and sitting in his chariot, read Isaiah the prophet.
Okay, so he's reading the scriptures, right? Now, Elder Boucher, is Isaiah usually the easiest thing to understand when you're reading the scriptures?
No.
Not really. So, could you read verse, what are we at, verse 30? Or verse, sorry, 29? Elder Boucher, could you read 29?
Yeah. Then the Spirit said unto Philip, Go near and join thyself to this chariot.
Okay, and verse 30 as well.
And Philip ran thither to him, and heard him read the prophet Isaiah, and said, Understandest thou what thou readest?
Philip, what is that? First of all, he runs, like the Spirit tells him go, and he just goes, boom. And what does he ask him, Elder Boucher?
He understood what he's reading.
Yeah, he's checking for understanding. He asks him an inspired question, you could say. So, and then Elder Bezin, you want to read verse 31?
And he said, How can I, except some man should guide me? And he desired Philip that he would come up and sit with him.
So what does that tell us about most investigators, Elder Bezin? I think that applies with most people, but what do you think?
The fact that he said, How can I understand something without somebody guiding me? We just need someone to help us along, especially if we're investigating the church. We need somebody that can show us what to do to understand.
Sure.
Can't really know just right off the bat.
And is everyone as humble as this eunuch and just saying, no, I really don't know what's going on? Like most people, it's kind of a little bit trickier to get them to admit they have a hard time, right? So, just in case, we should, when we teach them, we should teach very basically so that they understand. So, we're going to go back to preach my gospel. Anything else on that? What did you think about that, Chana? How do you think we can apply that as missionaries?
As missionaries, he asked inspired questions, so we should always ask inspired questions and not expect them to know, because obviously, even in the Bible, some people don't understand. So, real people, real questions.
For sure. So how about, here's an interesting thing. So the definition of understanding is a mental grasp. So it's all mental, right? But Philip, he used the Spirit as well. It wasn't just like teaching, just like man teaches. Like if I'm going to teach you mathematics. When teaching the gospel, we have to have the Spirit with us, as well as teaching basically. So how can we do that better? So think about that for a second. How can we use the Spirit and teach basically in order to help our investigators understand? Just think of that for a second. And then we're going to go back to Preach My Gospel on page 182. And we're going to be in the second paragraph and the second sentence. We're gonna end with this. Elder Anchondo, could you read that? The second paragraph and the second sentence. Third sentence.
Right here?
Expounding the gospel.
Expounding the gospel means that you explain the meaning of doctrines and spiritual passages simply and clearly, relying on the Spirit to guide what you say.
Okay, Elder Boucher, what do you think about that?
That we don't trust in the Spirit, we cannot do it.
For sure. If we don't rely on the Spirit, we're only going to be trying to teach people according to our level of understanding. And we all know that we're not, we're pretty, we're all good missionaries, I know you all very well, but that's not enough. So, I would like to leave you with a little commitment. Following these paragraphs, there's 3 bulletin points that Preach My Gospel gives us for teaching for understanding. So the commitment I'd like to leave you to is, as a companionship builder on Sunday, we can do this in a little shirt. Read through these points, and then try to understand them, and try to apply them in your missionary work. So these 3 points that we have right here. And if there's something that you could do better, make a plan, and apply it, and do it. So that way, when we teach people, we will be progressing ourselves as well. We will be striving to understand the gospel as well as them. We'll kind of have moral authority when we teach people. So, is there any questions about that? Any comments about this? Okay. Will you do this in your next companionship study? Will you go through these 3 bullet points and make plans to apply what you learned?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay. Thank you very much. I testify that these things are true. I'm so grateful for preaching the gospel. It's helped me become a better missionary. And so, I testify as well that teaching for understanding can only be done with the Spirit. Only with the Spirit. Like Elder Boucher said, if we don't have the Spirit, we can't do it. So I say that in the name of Jesus Christ.